Good evening, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. This is the Goldzan primer that I'm using right now, and I ended up not caring for the little gold flakes that it has in it, but it definitely was very tacky. So if you can find a way to isolate that, go for it. Right now, I have the Paris Hilton contour and bronzing palette that I went in with, but I also use the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-hour full coverage foundation. Goodness, that's a mouthful. And that's actually what I tried to put all over my face. And I used it on my left side of my face. So on the right side of my face, I went with the brush. So the right side of my face, I'm going to go ahead and try with a beauty blender. I actually ended up liking the beauty blender a lot better for using it. However, their beauty blender tended to suck up a lot of product, and the normal Real Techniques beauty sponge that I use on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't do that. So I personally wouldn't recommend, quite frankly, none of her contour kit. But if you were gonna purchase it anyways, no matter what I said, then I would go ahead and just not use that if you're just have to have the Paris Hilton contour kit. This is my normal concealer that I always use to highlight with and not really conceal very much, but just to highlight my face. It's the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in shade 20. And I'm actually going to try and use her sponge also on my eyes. See, I'm making a face. I'm like, it didn't do it. It didn't do it for me. So I went ahead and got my Real Techniques sponge, and I try to use it on that side and then go back to the Paris Hilton sponge because I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. However, it's more doubt and less benefit. So I end up just smoothing it over with my other beauty blender anyways. And right here is the Urban Glow glitter brush set. And I have to blend out the rest of my stuff. But I was like, oh my God, because I actually had on Jerry Springer in the background. I actually hadn't seen that show in years, so I forgot how ridiculous it is in generality. So while there was strippers and fighting, running amok in the background, that's why I just made this silent. So I used that color and that color to set my under eyes, set the side of my nose, and down the bridge of my nose, and slightly between my eyebrows. And the flatter, it's supposed to be, I think, for foundation application. The brush that I use from Urban Glow, it distributed product really well. It picked it up really well. And actually on the Paris Hilton palette with the actual makeup on it, it didn't have a lot of kick up on it, so they're not very powdery, but they also don't like to come out of the pan either. And I tried like scrubbing or whatever, and it's no good. It's almost like only the highlighter colors really wanted to work. The other ones are kind of eh. So I don't necessarily recommend it. I didn't have a bronzer to demo for you guys, so I just used the buffer brush that came with the Paris Hilton kit, but I used my Physicians formula that I always use. Now, I used it, however, I feel like the Physicians formula powder and basically forcing my hand is really what did all the work. Like normally my brush does all the work, and I just kind of like swoop it on there really quick. Like my makeup literally never takes me more than 30 minutes to do. And it took a good hour to do my makeup this day because it just was not working. And you can see me going back in with my normal everyday bronzer brush because it wasn't working. And this is the Urban Glow blush brush. It wasn't having a whole lot of color payoff in my normal everyday e.l.f. blush palette that I always use. So I don't know what was up with that. Maybe that brush was having a bad day or something. I don't know. And this is my Sonia Kashuk brush, just using it to blend my contour a little bit, dust away all the powder, and definitely fix what that buffer brush messed up on my face with that bronzer, because it was terrible. It was very choppy. I wouldn't recommend the brush from that at all. And that was, it didn't show it but for a half a second, but that's the Morphe setting spray, which I find to be a godsend. It's wonderful. After your face dries down, it's just beautiful, smooth, skin-like. I have nothing but good things to say about this setting powder, and just tapping everything in to make it look even more skin-like, definitely working. So from the Paris Hilton palette, I used the goldish highlight in that palette, and on my skin tone it actually looks pretty natural, like a glow from within. It's definitely not beaming, at least on my skin tone. The lighter one is a little bit too pink and a little bit too light in color for me personally, but it's bright, it's there, it shows up. So definitely her highlights, she did pretty decent. They're a little bit chalky, which is why I made that face just now, but you know, you can't win at everything. That's why she's an heiress. So, and the FARRAH E35 is the brush that I just held up, that beautiful gold one. And I'm using the Bootylicious from the Balm's Nude Beach palette. Just a little sample that I got in my Ipsy bag. And it's like a bronzy, dirt red, like beautiful coppery toned kind of color. And I love it. I wish I had used the brush that I use later. I show from Urban Glow. It's more of a pointed blender brush, and I wish I had used that to apply this as opposed to the FARRAH brush, just because the FARRAH brush, what would be something good to say? The FARRAH brush is just too big to be using for all of it, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna just slap this color all over my lid. I have errands to run, I don't need to be doing the most, so I put that on there. But you can see like this Urban Glow brush is a lot more precise, and that's a different Urban Glow brush. It's not the same one. It's a little bit more pointed and it's flatter, and I just use that and run that palette all over the outsides of my eye color, just to make it blend a little bit better, make it look, you know, a little bit neater. And that's actually the Pro Fusion palette, Peach Froze Pro Fusion palette. It just says peach, and you can get that at Target. And this is actually, it's Nomad's, it's the Light Infusion powder. It's super pretty. It's purpley colored. And this right here is the eyeko eyeliner. Love this eyeliner. It didn't run on me, and I had this eyeliner on for at least 12, at least 12-ish hours. And it was good. It was really good. So I definitely recommend the eyeko one, and it's awesome that Ipsy gave me a full one. So Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed a new background, kind of, that I have. I actually have a new vanity and I'm super excited about it. Everybody who's friends with me on Instagram and Facebook, you know, you already saw it, so it is what it is. Basically, you can tell from the title, I did a video on like stuff that I got in my Ipsy bag / stuff that I just like purchased and wanted to try out and give my review for it on camera. So I took a little break, went to Chick-fil-A and got a salad, and then also a lemonade because their lemonade's delicious. And so basically, here are my thoughts on the makeup that I used today. I did go off camera and I just put on some clear lip gloss that is by Belle En Argent. And that was in my Ipsy bag. It's like a full one. And it's just basically on me. It's clear, but it has little flakes of glitter in it, which is kind of cute. I like it. But the other thing that I used, basically I'm going to go from start to finish and with what the stuff that I used. So Goldzan, there's a 24 karat Goldzan, like it's supposed to be like a primer / like just oil that you use underneath of your foundation to make, you know, everything look smoother and more hydrated. I find that it didn't do either, but it could be that I used a different kind of foundation. Like I've never used this foundation before. It's the Tarte Amazonian Clay, the 12 hour, and the shade that Ipsy sent me was Honey Tan, which it's pretty much my color. But with this underneath of it, it looked like shit. It is really tacky, so it's good for that, but it has those gold flakes in it, which I think is super cute in the bottle. But and I got it off Wish, so it took like a month to even get here anyways. But the little gold flakes, you can see my foundation the foundation I used doesn't cover it up. For an indefinite no, I would have to use the foundation that I've been using more often, and I know how it normally wears throughout the day anyways. So, and that's normally the Neutrogena Healthy Skin. And I am in the shade medium beige for that one. So I don't know. I think this is really, really matte, and this is my skin. It's winter time and it's been really cold here recently, so my skin's a little bit more dry, and normally I'm really, really oily skinned. So I just don't think the Tarte Amazonian Clay is really for me. The coverage is really good, and it did okay with my concealer that I normally have on top of it, but this is just a little too matte for my liking, especially recently. The Urban Glow shimmer brushes, these are actually really good. These came from TJ Maxx and they were $10.99. So, and they're pretty good and they're cute. The only drawback is that the glitter rubs off, but the brush works good and it doesn't shed. This brush that came in my Ipsy bag, it's a FARRAH 35E. It works pretty good. It did shed a couple times, and I've used it one other time before this video, and it shed then too. And I haven't washed it or anything. I just like tried to rub it off, and like I guess it's just a shedder, but it does blend very good. So I like it. / you know, would just be warned, you're gonna have to pick out like little bits off your face, little hair bits. So I used, for my eyeshadow color, this bronzy color, I used the Balm's Nude Beach in the shade Bootylicious. Let me see. It's this color right here. I actually really like it. I think it turned out really, really cute. I like the color, and it's definitely up my alley. It's normally what I wear, is bronzy stuff, because I think they make my eyes pop. So I like that. And then there's, I think it's a highlighter. You know, I think it's a highlighter. Not sure. Yes, okay, it's a highlighter. I read the box. This came in my Ipsy bag. It's a Nomad highlighter. That's what I have on my inner corner right here. And it's super pretty, really pigmented, blends out really good. I don't know what that retails for normally. All I know is my Ipsy bag is only $10. So that's all I'm willing to spend. Like in the Ipsy bag, they also sent me a Generation Clay mask, the purple one. And I was like, I looked it up on Amazon, and it was still like $35 to $45 on Amazon. And I'm not willing to spend that, but not for just a mask, you know. But the masks, they were pretty good. But there's other masks out there that like are at Walmart that are just as cheap, just as good. So here are the two colors right next to each other, and I think they turned out really good. Now, for this piece of shit right here, I have nothing personal against Paris Hilton. I don't necessarily, like, I'm totally uninvested, and like, girl, you have got to get it together. Okay, there are literally the top row on this palette. The top row is the only thing that really works on this palette. Like the other stuff, it has color payoffs. I use this one, and I believe this one too. Like the two right here, the goldish highlight, it doesn't really show up it shimmers, but it doesn't show up like a beaming highlight. It looks more natural. That's fine with me. This other highlight, it's really beaming, but it looks too ashy on my skin tone. So that's fine. But I've used it like for a brow bone highlight or whatever. And it works good. And these two I use to set underneath my under eyes and to help contour my nose. They work, but I feel like NYX does a way better job. Now, her whole little kit is what I got from TJ Maxx, and it was only $7.99. I tried really hard to try and make her little beauty blender work, but all it did basically was eat up, like the Tarte Amazonian clay was full, and I used at least 2 little squirts of that. And normally with my other foundation and a different beauty blender, that's so unnecessary. So, and I tried blending it out with a brush to try and do it with a brush first, because that's how I prefer to apply my foundations anyways. This little thing is a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. I hate it. I'm probably going to give it to my new dog, honestly. Oh, he went to go get it. What brush is this? The blender brush, the flat top kind of kabuki one. I kept trying to dig it in the product, and it had like no color payoff. It did pretty good at nothing. Now, I can't say it did good at anything. And it shed like nobody's business. So that's crap. Anyways, and then she has this contour brush. I used it before to try and do like cream contour, because to me, like, I felt like this brush would be better at that. And it's better with cream versus like powder, because I have this other brush from e.l.f. and it's a contour brush. It does way better at picking up product and distributing it, and it doesn't shed. And I've washed it a million times. e.l.f. did a great job with this brush. So I looked on, I don't know, I just Googled it. So I Googled how much her little contour kit sells for, and it's normally $15.99. So $8 at TJ Maxx is kind of a steal for it. So if you just want this, I think it's kind of worth it if you're like on a budget. It's a little bit cheaper than like $25.99 for NYX's, but I would spend the extra few dollars and get something that's going to blend out like a dream versus this. So there's that. I tried this new eyeko liquid liner, and I like it. It's cute and it's really precise, even though it's a little bit thick. I like it. It's really pigmented. It's really dark. And I just did a little something on the ends, so I like it a lot. My Ipsy bag also came with this Naked Cosmetics. It's an eyeshadow in Heavenly Metal. Or, not Heavenly Metal, Heavy Metal. I'm just going to like demo it for you because I didn't use it. I have a color that's just like it, which is probably why I didn't use it. But that's Heavy Metal right there. It's really pretty. It's a nice coppery shade, and it's basically a loose powder. So, you know, there's that. I mentioned that I did my mascara. I used CoverGirl Supersizer, like always, in Very Black. And also, I did not... Ciate, I have a glitter flip, but it's not really a color that I would really use. It's kind of like more the color of my lips, how they are now. But I might end up giving this one to my little baby niece. She loves everything that has to do with makeup. And this is the color right there. So basically that's all the products that I tried out, / all the products that I got in my Ipsy bag. So once again, if you can get to these cute little brushes, the Urban Glow ones, I would recommend these. They're cheap and they're pretty good. And then, oh, I got these. My lovely mother-in-law gave me these little makeup brushes. She got them from Five Below, and they're pretty cute. And I mean, even if you're just trying to occupy your time, like, it's cute, and I like it. So, and then I also have a whole bunch of other makeup to go ahead and demo for you guys. So I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.